Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you're on the air with Power Squared. We thought tonight we would talk about horror movies.
Because it's the spooky month.
That's right. Uh, a Friday show would be on Halloween, and it's a little too late to start talking about them.
Yeah.
Because you want to kind of watch, I think, horror movies leading up to Halloween,
Yeah.
and maybe on Halloween, but not, you know. It's sort of like a Christmas movie in January.
Yeah.
You don't want to really see a horror film in November. That's
Yeah.
at least my opinion. Kind of seasonal horror films are kind of seasonal for me, I guess.
Yeah.
So horror films are as old as cinema in some ways.
Yeah.
You go back to Nosferatu,
Yeah.
which is pretty scary, considering it was a way of getting around the Dracula copyright, actually.
Yeah. I was going to say it's basically Dracula.
Yeah, well, it was a way of not having to pay for the Dracula story and still make a movie about a vampire.
Yeah.
And that's, in some ways, that's one of the scarier horror films in some ways because he looks scary.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, he's not going to charm the ladies with his good looks and his demeanor. He's like, long nails and it
Yeah.
looks like. And there's a bunch of like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and there was a lot of German expressionist films like Golem and things like that. There were kind of monster horror kind of movies.
Yeah.
And then
Later, of course, you have the Universal horror stuff.
yeah, I also want to mention the Phantom of the Opera,
Yeah.
the silent version. That's when you pull the mask off. And he's like, it's a scene that you've seen, even if you've never watched the movie, you've seen that image of this ghoulish guy with his mask is pulled off.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you get the Universal sort of. When I was taking a class in college, the teacher talked about how Universal counted on there being sort of an idiot fringe that would go see any horror film they put out, and they sort of started with Dracula
Yeah.
and Bela Lugosi, and then they had Frankenstein with Boris Karloff. It's interesting. There's also a Spanish language Dracula,
Yeah.
which we watched.
That's darker.
Yeah, they shot
Both
it.
literally and.
They shot it at night using the same sets, and in some ways it is a little more scary, I guess. I think some of the actors on the supporting cast I think might be a little better than Dracula, but it was still that was a very good version of the film, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's The Mummy,
Yes.
which I think is really good too. And maybe of all the Universal films, that seems to be like,
Yeah.
what's his name? Oh my God, Bay.
Ardith Bay.
Ardith Bay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a really, I think, a really good performance from Boris Karloff.
Yeah. And Universal also kind of had the first cinematic universe.
Right.
With Frankenstein meets Wolfman.
Yeah, they tried to. Well, then they had Wolfman, which was sort of a little lesser, and then they had
The Invisible
Man, which is, a lot of it has to do with the performance of the actor, but yeah, it seemed to get a little way more into science fiction, like The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
And they also did Creature from the Black Lagoon later.
Yeah. Which I believe had the sequel Revenge of the Creature, which got an MST treatment.
Right. And yeah, there's a lot of films that are kind of science fiction-y that kind of dip their foot into horror a little bit.
Yeah.
There's also like the monster movies like King Kong.
Yeah.
The original King Kong was probably scarier when it first came out.
Yeah.
I think some of the, I think watching old horror films now, you kind of like, you've been sort of tainted, life is really, as scary as a horror movie sometimes. and you see things on TV that they never would have seen at that time.
Yeah.
And,
Well, like older stuff isn't as scary because people have generally been more desensitized from having
yeah, right. Desensitized is better way than
pushing.
tainted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to appreciate what it was in its time,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's hard to do because you're just like, this is taking a little too long, to get going.
Yeah.
But I do like some of the older films. I like watching the older films, and then they also did what, as you said, Cinematic Universe. They made sequels.
Yeah.
Like The Bride of Frankenstein is a sequel to Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and it's got sort of a bookend story.
I remember since I'm familiar with I think we did a whole thing about Frankenstein.
Uh huh. Oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I've read the book. It's
Or from I was gonna say I remember from since I'm familiar with the story through the Junji Ito version, which is from what I gather pretty accurate. The first Universal Frankenstein is basically like half the story, and then the Bride of Frankenstein movie is kind of the other half.
Yeah, except for it's
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of, because the novel is really epic.
Yeah.
In comparison to the movie, which takes place, and then they've made like a bunch of sequels to Frankenstein. But I'm looking forward to Guillermo del Toro's
Yeah.
Frankenstein, because I believe he's more like, because the book, we also listened to a radio,
Yeah. Radio play.
yeah, from 80 years ago when they were doing Frankenstein, and it's a little closer to the book than the movies are.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Del Toro does with. I'm hoping that he's closer to the book.
Honors
The book, because the book is. I mean, it's just a much more epic story, and I honestly got kind of lost sometimes in all the travels and all that stuff in the book.
Yeah.
But it's a much it's a bigger story than Universal showed.
Yeah.
And then you also have the endless Son of Frankenstein, and Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Frankenstein meets and then you get Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Meets every Universal horror
Yeah.
figure, and you can run something into the ground. I kind of think they did that,
Yeah.
and then they tried to revive it like 10, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and it never really kind of took off.
No. No, this whole thing about endless like sequels and stuff, kind of it continues to this day.
Yes.
And there's a similar phenomenon with slasher movies,
Mm-hmm. Right.
like Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween or
Friday the 13th.
yeah, Friday the 13th. Those had like
Oh yeah, and
bajillion sequels.
right.
And there was even a crossover, Freddy versus Jason, which I actually liked.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this, and then like the Invisible Man has been made more recently, like a bunch of different times. Hollow Man, and I know Blumhouse made an Invisible Man, and there was a comedy with Chevy Chase as the Invisible Man. So I mean, there's, they keep going back to certain films and sort of make them over and over again.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you get to sort of, there's the monster films, there's kind of the Alien.
Yeah.
It came from outer space, or I think it's the Thing.
Yeah. John Carpenter's the thing?
Well, but that's based on that's a remake of another movie.
Yeah.
Where you got, I'll say Matt Dillon, the actor that played that, was this monster that they had to deal with that came from outer space.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then The Thing by
John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Which was also pretty good.
Right. So, it's kind of, it's a little more interesting when it's sort of older, like technology-wise.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with something like really superior to you, and you're like, you're hoping you can, get it to walk on something, you can electrocute it, or a lot of these horror films were originally based in like 1890s, and they were gothic kind of settings, and the technology wasn't as sophisticated as now, and the tendency to sort of modernize them kind of loses some of the why those were kind of interesting stories to tell. I read the book Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it's way different than the movies that you see.
Yeah.
It's a little more, it's a little more intense. Jekyll is not a nice guy in any of the movies, but he's really bad. Though I did enjoy we did watch Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
From the 30s. And then you get in sort of, there's more modern films.
Yeah.
Like Get Out.
Yeah.
That was pretty scary.
Yes.
That had a really funny ending to it, though.
Yeah.
I thought. It's really good.
It was so really unnerving.
Yeah. Right.
Like the movie itself.
Yeah. So, and then...
That's how effective it was.
Right. And then you have Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes. we had a whole thing about that.
Yeah, I know, but we can still talk about it again.
No, it's just more of a reminder for the people watching or listening.
Right.
We had an episode about that. I liked Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie.
Wasn't there there were some kind of movies like it before?
Yes.
There was the Banana Splits.
Yeah, Banana Splits movie, which they say they didn't use an abandoned Five Nights at Freddy's script. I kind of don't believe that because of how similar it is, or how much it borrows from Five Nights at Freddy's. It could be they didn't actually use it, but I can't say for sure because there's the official story and then there's just speculation.
Right.
Then there was also Willy's Wonderland, which had Nicolas Cage.
Right.
And he didn't speak for the entire movie out of that was a personal challenge.
Okay.
I actually liked it. Because you get to actually see someone fight back against the animatronics.
Right.
And he does it in the spectacular fashion.
Right. And then now that they've actually made Five Nights at Freddy's, there's going to be a sequel to that. Right?
Yeah. December, I believe.
Okay.
We're getting Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I've been looking forward to that. I even saw the Hall H panel at Comic-Con.
Right.
That's how hyped I was.
Your first Hall H panel.
Yeah. And I don't regret that.
In the 50s, I know The Mummy came out in 59. Hammer got a license from Universal to remake some of their movies.
Yeah. I've been kind of curious about the Hammer stuff. I'm always dipping my toe into it.
Yeah, we did watch the Mummy, and it's not the same story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, based on it, I guess, but it's not as... I don't think it worked as well, but it was like a kind of a bigger production in some ways. Then they go back, and you had to, dig them. I don't know.
Right.
So, I'd like to see more of those, just to compare them.
Yeah, like Hammer Dracula or something.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of horror movies. You could easily go different directions, like horror comedy.
Yes. Even Young Frankenstein is kind of a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And
Ghostbusters.
Right. Yeah,
that was a comedy, but it was shot like a horror.
Right.
Those are taking it seriously the whole time, which helps.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I think I generally liked the original Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice was...
It's sort of part of a trend of taking stories, was it 30 years later? Let's do a sequel.
Yeah.
I hope everybody remembers the good feelings they had from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
That sometimes is a kind of a big leap
Yeah.
to make, and that not everybody succeeds at that.
Yeah.
So I kind of, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, why are you making this exactly?
Yeah.
And because the first one was kind of kitschy and, you know, Harry Belafonte songs and stuff. And the second one is sort of same sort of story, but not quite as well done. Then there's also films like Cat People. That's supposed to be a horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of more. Yeah, it's more like melodrama and weird, but it's not really horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Curse the Cat People, which is really not that scary. I guess they've remade Cat People. I didn't see the remake of it. I think David Bowie's in the remake.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's like probably 50 years ago now, too. So, yeah, they're kind of all over the place. And there's also like This Island Earth, which is kind of a little bit of a horror, science fiction horror.
Yeah. Oh, with This Island Earth, we've seen Emma Teacher K, the movie, riffed on it, and then we saw the actual movie. I think when we saw the actual movie, we were mostly able to take it seriously, but we still couldn't not think of some of the...
It's me, Brack. The Brack Show. Yeah.
Like, it was still, because we were so familiar with MST3K, the movie, because of how funny it was hard not to still think of some of the jokes.
Right.
And back when science didn't have to have any specific purpose.
I also want to mention that we always think of Universal's making the horror films in the 30s, but they weren't the only studio doing it.
No.
There was Warner Brothers did some, like Murder in the Rue Morgue and the Wax Museum or whatever, Mystery of the Wax Museum.
Yeah.
Which also got remake. And then there's all these Vincent Price movies. I mean, he did The Fly, which is legitimate horror, but then there's all the kind of Edgar Allan Poe remakes, retellings and things like that are again kind of not really scary, I don't think.
Yeah.
At least not to me, but they're kind of I don't know. They're not films I look forward to watching, I guess, but they're kind of part of that kind of a horror tradition.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite horror film?
It's kind of hard to say. I could at least get into a ballpark of I really like psychological horror stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like Saw?
Yeah, the original Saw. It's surprisingly bloodless.
Yeah.
Considering the reputation of the Saw movies.
Right.
And it was actually a lot more psychological than I'd anticipated. So I actually really liked how it did that. Plus, it has like a really good twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Right. Which was better than Cloverfield.
Yeah. Now, I'll admit I don't... Sometimes I'm not sure exactly of the difference, like when a horror becomes more of a thriller with horror elements.
Yeah.
But either way, the 10 Cloverfield Lane was like really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the stuff that I like can be a little all over the place, but I know generally I like psychological stuff the best because I'm not always like into body horror.
Yeah, I don't like gore.
Yeah,
that doesn't really do anything for me.
I don't like gore for the sake of gore.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really kind of my... I don't like cutting flesh or whatever.
Yeah, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I can at least appreciate its influence.
Right.
But it's not something I would watch more than the one time.
I watched it and I'm done.
I can at least say I saw it, and I can recognize like references and stuff to that. Psycho is also
Yeah, Psycho's very. It has one of the, I'll say, original jump scares
yeah
when you see the mother
yeah
the first time, and it's pretty. I mean, bloodless, though there's blood in the shower scene, the famous shower scene.
yeah
But you never see her actually get stabbed.
yeah
Which is you think you would, but she doesn't. You never see it. I mean, that's part of the Hitchcock, magic, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
yeah
That he could, and he also kind of got away with things you weren't supposed to be able to get away with.
yeah
Simply like having a toilet in the bathroom was a big deal, and then she's, there's nudity. You can kind of try to hide it up.
Looking at this list we have here, another, I guess, what might be one of my favorites is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Okay, yeah. I made your point of including the Scooby-Doo films.
Yeah, well, like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is easily the best Scooby-Doo movie because it's a really good blend of Scooby-Doo, but it's also a more mature take on Scooby, without sacrificing what makes Scooby Scooby.
Mm-hmm.
And it also actually committed to like real monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a point in its favor.
Not just some guy dressed up as a monster.
Yeah, it was like actual zombies.
If you meddling kid, then
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it's just a take on Scooby-Doo that we'll probably not really see again because the current insistence on having this particular brand image of Scooby-Doo as like classic and not really going beyond that.
Right. We haven't really touched on one genre of horror film, the zombie movie.
Yeah. Interesting thing about zombies is with zombie movies at least, it's for the longest time it was strictly like supernatural explanations, or you have something like I walked with a zombie, where it's not like the zombie as you traditionally think of it.
Right.
But then eventually we got the more modern take on zombies. But then the video game Resident Evil came out,
Mm-hmm.
which offered a more scientific explanation for zombies.
Okay.
So because of that, other movies went for a scientific explanation.
Okay. What is the scientific explanation?
In Resident Evil, the scientific explanation is the T virus.
Okay.
Which was created with involvement from Umbrella Corporation, and the T virus. It's not like a worldwide thing, but it was in the Arclay Mountains and then Raccoon City,
Mm-hmm.
and at least the early Resident Evil games are about like why the T virus or why the zombies are happening, and then you find out it's the T virus, and then there's a whole thing in Resident Evil 2 and 3 about how they're going to nuke Raccoon City.
Which will kill everything.
Yeah, including the people that were sent into.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm not really into zombies too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a big thing on television, but it's not really kind of something I don't know. Eating brains. I've seen movies. Again, I can't think of the name of the film. That kind of low budget horror film about zombies. Had some sort of. It was kind of. It's something you have to watch to sort of say you saw it. And it's Romero.
Yeah.
I don't know. I cannot think of the name of the movie, but it's basically a zombie film, and and then the idea that you can, and you've seen The Simpsons pick it up with blow them away with a shotgun or whatever,
Right.
and yeah. So
Are you thinking of Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead, actually, yeah, Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
There are a couple. There's like Dawn of the Dead or like another of the Dead movie that I keep mixing up in my head. So I'm never sure if I'm quite saying.
Yeah,
the
but
right
it's a
Romero.
Yeah, and I think he did one at a shopping mall. This is like low budget, black and white.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of humor in it at the beginning, but
Yeah.
but it was it was pretty much a vicious horror film. And
Yeah.
then there's horror films that like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
That didn't really work for me,
No.
and I know
It
that
was just kind of the original movie is just kind of
yeah, kind of funny, sort of, but not really funny, haha.
yeah.
And so yeah, they can be all over the place.
Do you have a favorite horror?
Well, I figured you might ask me that. I was actually thinking The Mummy I think it was pretty good.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Del Toro does with Frankenstein. He kind of made his own version of Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Yeah.
which turned into sort of a Cold War kind of thing. Water, what was the name?
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water.
Yeah.
That was really good. So I'm hoping that he
Yeah.
does something, actually having instead of sneaking around and kind of making a Creature of the Black Lagoon film without it being a Creature of the Black Lagoon film. He's actually making a Frankenstein film. Hopefully that'll come through.
Yeah.
And I hope it's in the. I believe it is, but it should be in the time that it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Which was not sophisticated stuff, and I know that the Universal films were more sophisticated, machinery or whatever then either. But it's kind of, I'm just looking forward to see what he does with it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping he does right by it, I guess.
Something I mentioned earlier was like sometimes I'm not sure if it's horror or thriller with horror elements. An example would be Jaws. That's a thriller, but it has horror elements in the form of like
that monster,
the shark, and there's a couple dead bodies that we see.
Yeah. And the skinny dipper at the beginning gets eaten. Yeah.
But it's not like explicitly a horror movie.
No, but it has the elements of that, and maybe that's why it was kind of. Kind of Jurassic Park kind of had that kind of. These are monsters that we shouldn't be seeing coming around, and so yeah.
I at least wanted to explain that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of elements of horror, and there's thriller elements, and Jaws is a good example, as you said, of the two.
Yeah,
it's a thriller with sort of horror because that is a monster that they can't figure out how to kill.
Yeah.
So that's a good movie actually.
Yeah. So I guess another question, if we feel like we're close to the end here, is: are there any horror movies that you want to watch? Whether it's newer stuff you're looking forward to seeing, or some older stuff you feel like you should see.
I feel like I should see more of the Hammer. Stuff, just to sort of I can at least be a little more critical of it, because The Mummy came out on my birthday. The day I was born is when that came out, so it's as old as me. I kind of feel a little attached to it, but I don't really want to be. Some more of that, I guess. I don't know. I don't really look forward to horror films necessarily. I know we've seen a lot, but I don't like. Oh yeah, this is supposed to scare the bejesus out of you.
Right.
We saw Get Out because it was up for an Academy Award, right?
Yeah. And
you kind of felt like you had to watch it to sort of stay up.
Yeah.
And it was very well made, and but at the same time, I'm not like I haven't watched any of the other films he's made.
Yeah.
Just because it's just not my cup of tea, really.
Right.
And I know there's some people that, again, love horror films, love being scared. There's people that like to, they call them thrill seekers. They,
Yeah.
almost die doing something, and woo, and I don't know.
I know when I was younger, I thought I really didn't like horror, but as I gotten older, I realized, kind of surprised myself with how interested in how much of the genre I've kind of gotten into, although at the same time I'm more selective with.
Yeah.
For example, I started watching When They Cry because the writer for the original visual novels also wrote Silent Hill F, which I'm currently enjoying, and so that's more just wanting to see what the writer's other work was like, and I decided the anime because it would be I guess faster than the visual novels.
Well, speaking of anime, there was a series we watched where it was like little kids being raised to be fed to other things.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of a
Promise
horror.
Neverland.
Yeah, that's very much in the horror genre as far as their lives are at risk.
Okay. Since we're talking about movies, I know you're looking forward to Del Toro's Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, like I said. I'm also looking forward to Return to Silent Hill, which is a newer Silent Hill movie based on Silent Hill 2. I actually thought the original Silent Hill movie was better than people were making it out to be. And so I at least trust that the director, who is the same for Return to Silent Hill, at least respects the source material.
Right.
I did see the trailer for it, or the teaser, and I know it wasn't like 100% representing the game, but it could just be the marketing versus what it actually is, so I'm still optimistic. As for movies I feel like I should see, partly because of Matthew Lillard's connection with like Five Nights at Freddy's or Scooby-Doo.
Right.
I kind of feel like I should see the original Scream at some point.
Yeah, probably should.
So I know Matthew Lillard came from that.
Is that the one that every time you see little kids dressed up in that little white?
Yeah, ghost face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So I shouldn't have.
I remember going to your Halloween parade at elementary school, and 2 or 3 kids were dressed like that. Like, why are you seeing that movie?
They're also like, I also am aware there were kids who like knew who Freddy Krueger was. Like, you shouldn't be watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, Scream, and then there were the kind of takeoffs on Scream.
Yeah, is that?
I cannot think of one of them, but I mean, there are movies that are kind of like comedy versions of it, I guess.
Yeah, but at least
the Scream version.
About,
yeah.
Actual...
It's kind of like why we wanted to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, just because Halloween, the original Halloween, because you kind of want to like, these are
icons.
You kind of want to at least see what they are.
Yeah. I'm also curious about Good Boy.
Okay.
It was a newer one that's a haunted house movie from the perspective of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it was good, so I'm curious about what that unique perspective would bring to the genre. It
seems like, if you just sort of casually watch what's coming up on at movie theaters, every week there seems to be another, like The Conjuring or the Witch of this or whatever. I mean, there's always like a bunch of those kind of movies. They churn them out because they're kind of inexpensive to make.
Yeah, you can get away with low budget with horror. Yeah,
Amityville Horror 72. After a while it's like, okay, you've gone back to the well one time too many. But so when is Good Boy out?
Yeah.
Okay, where's?
It's far as I know, it's in theaters.
Okay.
I haven't looked. I just know it was pretty recent.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check that out. All right.
I'm sure there are other movies I'm just not thinking about the top of my head.
And yeah, and if there's a horror film that you think we should have talked about, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But I think we touched on kind of a wide range of things.
Yeah. And if we didn't figure out how to organically work it in, or we haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a recommendation you have. We should see this movie.
So, if you're watching this on YouTube, you like this, leave a like, subscribe for some more, and like we were saying, leave a comment below if there are horror movies that you like or think we should see.
I just thought of It's Night of the Living Dead.
All right.
That's the first Romero film. I just
Right.
thought of that. Sorry. A little late in the process.
And if you're looking for a silent fidget toy, use our code MartyNeli to save 10% off your purchase at getono.com.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.